Superheroes getting a boost to their power is something everyone loves to see. It's always fun, even if it only lasts for a few pages. Today on Top 10 Nerd, we're jumping into part 2 of the top 10 unbelievable superhero upgrades. Make sure to check out part 1 and let me know your favorite shortest lived insane power boosts in comic books. I'm Adam Andrews and let's jump in. Coming in at number 10 is the Sentry plus the Void. The Sentry and the Void are two sides of an incredibly powerful coin. Sentry is like a more powerful Superman, as controversial as that may be to say, but in order to balance him out, there is the dark side of the Sentry known as the Void, who is just as, if not more, powerful than the Sentry is. It keeps his character interesting and doesn't make him the center of everything in the Marvel Universe. Well, in Sentry 2018, issues 4 and 5, these two opposing sides of one man become whole, and it is absolutely insane. Apart from looking so incredibly cool, the whole Sentry was able to completely whoop the antagonist of the series, Billy, shapeshifting with black tendrils, withstanding energy blasts without a scratch, and altering reality in a small space to finally defeat his former sidekick. Then, the Avengers show up with She-Hulk, Captain Marvel, Thor, Iron Man, Captain America, and a whole hell of a lot of backup, and they can do nothing to him or to stop him. It didn't last forever, but it was an insane level of power contained inside one man. Number 9. Spider-Hulk. In the Immortal Hulk with Great Power story, Peter Parker is granted the alter ego of the Hulk after Loki magically transfers the Gamma power to him. So it's Spider-Man with all his relative spider powers mixed with the unstoppable green monstrosity of the Hulk, matched up with all the temperament of a toddler that comes with it. It's actually really cool, and there are tons of hilarious moments in the story. Eventually, the power of the Hulk is switched back to Banner with the help of the Fantastic Four and Banner's own genius, but it's a short little story that seems almost self-contained, but it's an insanely cool one, and a Spider-Hulk would be an incredibly powerful character if he were to show up again and had more time to hone his abilities and his temper tantrums. Number 8. Spider-Man and the Cosmic Comic. Sometimes Marvel will make a joke character or scenario, and it ends up creating a character more powerful than any other character possibly ever. In How to Read Comics the Marvel Way, issues 1 to 4, the comic itself becomes a character, and it starts off trying to teach the reader how exactly to read comic books. The comic follows Spider-Man in a conflict with Mysterio, who found the Cosmic Comic, the same one speaking to us, in the basement of the Natural History Museum. It allowed Mysterio to freeze Spider-Man in time in a comic panel, turn inanimate objects to life, and increase his size. Once Spider-Man gets his spider sense back, he realizes that the Cosmic Comic is influencing events, and he grabs the comic, thinking it's one of Mysterio's tricks, and tears it in half. After realizing the error of his ways here, Spider-Man and Mysterio begin trying to write their own comics to use the Cosmic Comic to make their comics become reality. That was confusing, and I'm sorry. Thanks to the Cosmic Comic, they end up fighting across time, altering history, and Peter learns of the fact that he is a comic book character. Seeing all of his comic book publication history, taking in all of this info, he then fuses together with the Cosmic Comic, basically meaning he can control reality within Marvel Comics, which I think is even technically more powerful than multiversal power. He prints the comic that he created, which has him save the day and win the battle, and it changes reality so that that's the outcome of the fight with Mysterio. It's nuts. Number 7. Strange Visitor Superman. Okay, before we start on this point, technically this Superman is not canon, but he is one of my favorite versions of the character, and he is truly one of the more powerful versions of the character as well. In the story, Superman outlives everything in the universe, living for literally billions and billions of years. He lives so long and gets so powerful that he gains new abilities like being able to split himself into 1,000 different copies that allow the hero to do what he does best throughout the universe. He outlives all the gods, cosmic entities, mortals, angels, demons, everything. He watches countless civilizations rise and fall and learns an insane amount of skills like telepathy. He absorbs ridiculous amounts of energy, learns magic and strange sciences through all his copies, and then reabsorbs them at the end of everything. He can fly faster than the entropic waves of the end of the universe and can manipulate the fabric of reality through sheer strength. Number 6. Gambit. Now this really isn't an upgrade as much as it's an example of what Gambit could potentially become. Gambit's main mutant power is that he can take the energy of an object and convert it into kinetic energy and make it explode, essentially. His signature move is to do this with a deck of cards, which is really cool, but on a side note, extremely impractical. Like, he must spend so much money on decks of cards. Anyways, around the time of the Mutant Massacre, Gambit had begun to lose control of his abilities, which led him to Mr. Sinister, who removed a part of Gambit's brain in order to keep his abilities controllable. With an ability that seemingly lets him manipulate kinetic energy, Gambit could have been stupidly powerful if that part of his brain was not removed, and we know that because of an alternate version of Gambit called New Sun, who has achieved the potential that Gambit could have reached. He can manipulate kinetic energy at a molecular level. He doesn't have to touch objects to charge them, he can use his ability on living beings, he can stop moving objects dead in their tracks or cause objects that aren't moving to begin moving. He can turn himself into pure energy that lets him travel into space and other dimensions. New Sun was able to defeat Dark Phoenix, and he ended up destroying everyone on his own Earth. Now when New Sun confronts the 616 Gambit, 616 Gambit had restored his powers and it allowed him to fly, heal himself, and even defeat New Sun. It's so cool, and it doesn't really get to that level ever again. Number 5. Wonder Woman. Again, gifted with the powers of the gods, Wonder Woman has many of the same abilities Superman possesses, including strength, speed, and durability. However, Wonder Woman's Amazonian training sets her a little apart as an amazing warrior. It's been debated for years whether Diana could beat Superman in a fight, and while she's shown to be capable of hurting him at least, she doesn't have the same raw power. Instead, Wonder Woman dominates her opponents through a combination of her special abilities, superior tactics, and special equipment gifted to her by the gods, but she has been elevated beyond that. When Diana was empowered with the World Forge and the anti-crisis energy at the end of Doom War / during Death Metal, she had enough power to shake stars and phase throughout time through sheer strength. She had displayed the ability to shrink an entire planet and was able to link everyone together and restored their memories as one history, as in all of DC's continuity. She has cosmic awareness, able to see multiple events during the war against the Batman Who Laughs at once, as well as precognition and retrocognition. She was crazy powerful for that short amount of time. Number 4. Dark Crisis Superman. During the events of DC's Dark Crisis event, the main players of the Justice League were wiped out. While everyone assumed that they were gone to their graves, what actually happened is that each member was trapped in their own little pocket reality. Batman, Hal Jordan Green Lantern, Barry Allen the Flash, and Wonder Woman were living in realities created by their own wishes and desires, and weren't really aware of what was happening, except for Batman because he's Batman, and Superman. When the other members of the League who escaped their pocket realities come to free Superman, he is fully aware of the nature of his pocket reality, and the already insanely powerful Man of Steel has become massively more powerful. Superman had tried to escape this reality countless times, but he always failed, so instead of putting that effort into escaping, he put his efforts into training himself and absorbing the cosmic energy of the pocket reality itself. He basically became what is basically a cosmically powered god and used that power to defeat the villain. Number 3. Emma Frost Lifebringer. In the alternate reality given to us in Marvel 2-in-1 from 2018, instead of Reed Richards and the Fantastic Four saving our world from Galactus, it was actually Dr. Doom who did it, and in true Doom fashion, he saved the world in a pretty evil way to ensure he would be powered up in the process. Although, I don't believe that was what he was trying to do, but you know, whatever. Instead of trying to destroy Galactus, Doom used a transference device to take over the World Devourer's body. The catch is that Dr. Doom was now driven by the same hunger that Galactus had, and he ate every single planet in the universe, leaving Earth as the only planet left in the cosmos. Galactus gains more power as he consumes planets, so as you can imagine, this Doom Galactus hybrid who consumed the universe is incredibly powerful and incredibly hard to fight against when he turns his hunger back on the Earth. A whole group of heroes band together to save the Earth, but it's Emma Frost who makes the greatest sacrifice. Using another transference device, Frost transfers herself into Galactus, kicking out Doom, but also rewriting the core of Galactus' being, and instead of devouring worlds, she sets out to restore the universe back to the way it should be with the immense cosmic power of Emma Frost, Galactus' Lifebringer. Number 2. Chaos King Hercules. The Chaos King is a little bit glossed over when talking about incredibly powerful villains, and I think that's because the story was focused around Hercules. Hercules is a cool character, but from what I know, he hasn't ever really received the same kind of popularity as other characters in Marvel, especially with the character of Thor, who is similar, being godly in nature and incredibly strong, but also just a bit, kind of a lot cooler. But the Chaos Wars story was insanely cool. Basically, the Chaos King, a universal entity of darkness, was able to defeat the gods of every pantheon and absorb their combined power. He also was powered by the souls of every being who had ever passed away in the whole universe from the beginning of time. He was extremely close to completely wiping out everything in the universe. In order to fight the Chaos King, Hercules gets himself imbued by the power of the elder god Gaia, and becomes an absolutely insanely powerful god of gods. He could teleport, fly, and emit energy blasts from his hands and eyes. He caused massive shockwaves and craters with every step he took. He very easily destroyed not only a Chaos King powered and controlled Zeus and Athena with one hit each, but the entire Council of Godheads itself as well. He summoned Galactus and the cosmic entity Eternity to fight for him against their will. He matched the Chaos King blow for blow at a size larger than a planet, and once the threat was gone, he restored every destroyed planet, realm, every being, entity, and god, and then he lost the power. And coming in finally at number 1 is Moon Knight. While Moon Knight is normally a regular old street level hero, the nature of his abilities, being the avatar of the Egyptian god Khonshu, means that he does have the potential to become ridiculously overpowered, which he does in the Age of Khonshu event. During this event, thanks to a supermoon, the normally relatively low-powered Moon Knight defeats the Iron Fist Danny Rand and uses an Ankh to steal his Iron Fist powers, which he then takes to the Sanctum Sanctorum and punches Doctor Strange using another Ankh to steal the power of the Eye of Agamotto. He then steals the car of Robbie Reyes' Ghost Rider, which he takes to Wakanda alongside an army of the dead to take the powers of Black Panther, which fails, but then he ends up facing Thor, steals his hammer Mjolnir, beats the snot out of Thor, and since Khonshu is the god of the moon, he summons a bunch of moons from different places in space and traps Thor between these giant celestial bodies. Now, the whole reason Moon Knight is doing any of this is because Khonshu told him to in order to defeat Mephisto in order to save the world, which Moon Knight easily does using an amped up Mjolnir to rip a hole through the Hell Lord. Unfortunately, Moon Knight is kind of forced to do the bidding of Khonshu, who now takes the power and uses it to essentially conquer the world. Since Moon Knight is a hero though, he eventually gets himself empowered by the Phoenix Force in order to face and defeat Khonshu himself. It was an insane story, and he even considered completely wiping out humanity at the end, but luckily did not. But that's all the time I've got for today. I'm Adam Andrews, this is Top 10 Nerd, and I'll catch you guys on the flippity flop. Peace out, nerds.